right, so welcome everyone to the May 17th, 2021 Grafton Board of Health meeting. As a preliminary matter, this is Karen Gwiazdowski-Govin, Chair of the Board of Health in Grafton. Permit me to confirm that all members and persons anticipated on the agenda are present and can hear me. Members, as always, when I call your name, please respond in the affirmative. Dan Finn.
Dan Finn, present.
Austin Magnet.
Austin Magnet, present.
Bill Muller.
Bill Muller, present.
And Josh Briggs. I don't see him on yet. All right, staff and anticipated speakers on the agenda. When I call your name, please respond in the affirmative. Nancy is off today. She had a planned vacation day today because she was originally planning to be in on the 10th and then off on the 17th, but then couldn't switch what she already had scheduled for today. So she is off today. Danielle was supposed to be here from the Alliance, but she's out sick today. And then we will not actually have, or we should not be having Jana Reichlich from Swirls and Scoops, because there was an email earlier today that we do not need to actually have that topic on the agenda because she's going a different path regarding the whole polystyrene thing. So I don't expect her either at this point. And then Evan Brassard, Town Administrator, I don't see him on yet, so I'm sure he'll join us. He was for 6:45. Like to open the meeting. Can I get a motion to open the meeting?
Yep, this is Dan Finn. I'd like to make a motion to open this meeting.
This is Austin Magnet. I'll second that motion to open the meeting.
All right, and then do a roll call vote.
Dan Finn, aye.
Austin Magnet, aye.
Bill Muller, aye.
Karen Gwiazdowski-Govin, aye. All right, so good evening again. This open meeting of the Grafton Board of Health is being conducted remotely, consistent with Governor Baker's executive order of March 12th, 2020, due to the current state of emergency in the Commonwealth, due to the outbreak of the COVID-19 virus. In order to mitigate the transmission of the COVID-19 virus, we've been advised and directed by the Commonwealth to suspend public gatherings, and as such, the governor's order suspends the requirement of the open meeting law to have all meetings in a publicly accessible physical location. Further, all members of public bodies are allowed and encouraged to participate remotely. The order, which you can find posted to the town's website at www.grafton-mass.gov, allows public bodies to meet entirely remotely so long as reasonable public access is afforded, so that the public can follow along with the deliberations of the meeting. Ensuring public access does not ensure public participation unless such participation is required by law, and there are no public hearings scheduled for this evening's meeting. For this meeting, the Grafton Board of Health is convening by video conference via Zoom, as posted on the town's website, identifying how the public may join. Please note that this meeting is being recorded and that some attendees are participating by video conference. Accordingly, please be aware that other folks may be able to see you, and to take care not to screen share your computer, because anything that you broadcast could be captured by the recording. Any supporting materials have been provided to the members of this body, are available on the town's website unless otherwise noted. The public's encouraged to follow along using the posted agenda unless I note otherwise. Before we turn to the first item on the agenda, just permit me to cover some basic ground rules for effective and clear conduct of our business to ensure accurate meeting minutes also. I will introduce any speakers on the agenda when we get to the topics. After they conclude their remarks, go down to see if any board members have any questions, concerns, or comments. And, you know, common courtesy obviously prevails in these meetings. Also, please remember to mute your phone and computer when you're not speaking. And then finally, please remember to speak clearly and in a way that helps generate accurate meeting minutes. For any responses, please wait until I, the chair, yield the floor to you and then state your name before speaking. Then if any members wish to engage with other members, please do so through me, the chair, taking care to identify yourself. With that, if any votes are to be taken in the meeting this evening, each vote will be taken by the roll call vote. All right, so we are turning to the first agenda item, which is the Alliance updates. And like we said, Danielle is out. Nancy had forwarded us the Alliance monthly report on Friday. I don't know if everyone's had a chance to review it, has any questions on it. Dan?
This is Dan Finn. Yeah, the only question I had was regarding the vaccination efforts that the Alliance is supporting currently. I know they did a great job up to this point, and now vaccinations are more available and prevalent, but and I'm pretty sure they're still supporting the effort at Worcester State Hospital. But how about Westboro or Uxbridge? I'm pretty sure the Grafton, Medical Reserve Corps has been supporting those two. I was just wondering if the Alliance is still involved. Do you happen to know?
I don't, unless it was in the report.
Yeah.
Because the Alliance, I mean, the towns that are like truly part of the Uxbridge one and the Westboro one, I don't know if there's any Alliance towns. I haven't looked at the list of those specific kind of regional groups.
Yeah, that's true. So it probably is more in their jurisdiction to stick with the Worcester and Grafton, Holden, Shrewsbury towns.
Milford, yeah.
Okay. It's not a big deal, but thank you.
I just skimmed through it quick. I didn't see anything about Uxbridge and or Westboro.
Yeah. And I don't remember any chatter about those either. Like when they first started to talk about coming up or anything, I don't remember anyone, Karen Clark or anyone talking about like, oh, we'll be, looking into helping or looking into, participating because X town is part of that. I don't remember anything like that I saw.
Right. But I'm pretty sure, again, this is Dan, that they were involved in the Grafton Housing Authority first and second shots. So that was nice to get that accomplished.
Yeah, I see Forest Lane. They got their second shots up there.
All right. Anything else? I'm asking if anyone else has anything. Let me just pull it up myself to see if there's anything. Checking to make sure. I mean, pretty much the vast majority of everything has obviously been COVID. When you look at the update minus, they are obviously still, keeping track and continuing with inspections and helping out with whether it be septic plans, etc. Just scanning back through. Looks like outside of the typical COVID and inspection side of the world, they're going to be working on collaborating for the 2021 CHA Community Health Assessment. So I'm sure we'll hear more about that as time goes on.
Right. And this is Dan again. The other thing I noticed was that they're going to tweak or give more suggestions for the annual EDS plan, which again will be at the first of the year or so. But based on the COVID experience, I think they're going to have some suggestions to revamp that a little bit.
All right. Anything else? Sorry, just. All right. Well, if there's nothing else, I don't know if Evan's on yet. I see a number I don't recognize.
Hi, Karen. It's Julie.
Hi, Julie. So I was like,
Hi.
I
So
see
I've
calling
been
user
on-
1. I see a number I don't totally recognize, but seems vaguely familiar.
Yeah. Yeah. So I've been on and I couldn't unmute, but you guys are correct. So Worcester Public Health Alliance was not part of Uxbridge and Westboro. I think Uxbridge was part of Upton and that area. And Northborough was like Northborough, Westboro, Southborough. So they all had their own as far as vaccination sites go. So Worcester was not involved in their sites.
Right, that's what I thought. I didn't have all the
Yeah.
towns floating around, but I didn't think
Right.
that
Right. I
any
think
of the towns
there was
overlap
5 up in
between
that area.
Alliance and, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and thank you for joining us too.
You're welcome.
Oh, Dan?
Karen, thank you. Julie, just one question, the standard question that we ask each month. Were there any complaints, whether it was masks or other issues that came through the local office? Nancy would know, but you probably know as well.
No, there weren't any this time around. There were
Right.
not any actual COVID complaints this time around since the last meeting.
Great.
Yeah. So
Things
I'm
are
looking
smoothing out,
forward to no more. Yeah.
right? Things are smoothing out. Okay, great.
Yes.
Agreed. All right. All right. So maybe while we wait for Evan to join us, can start. I was going to take swirls and scoops originally out of order, so that way she didn't have to hang around through various topics. But she had sent, owner had sent an email earlier today to Nancy and I saying that she doesn't need to be part of the meeting. I had mentioned this when we first jumped on, but in case Julie didn't hear it, she's pursuing polystyrene, non-styrofoam options. So she's not looking for the waiver for the bylaw. So we can skip over it totally as a topic. So, all right, let's see, just checking before I get into this. All right. So COVID updates. When I first wrote my notes, it was pre-Baker's announcements of all sorts today. So it's gotten a little lengthier than when I first wrote my notes for the meeting since his announcements later this morning. So we'll start with the easy stuff. As of May 16th, we as a town, Grafton, have been informed of a total of 1,182 confirmed positive COVID cases since tracking started in early 2020. We did jump back up to yellow status last week from green. So we had a good run of a few weeks, but we did kind of just squeak back into yellow status as a town. So I know our numbers have been, drastically better than they were, obviously, along with most everyone's numbers have been drastically better as time's gone on, but that was sad to see that we jumped back up to yellow status. So here's to hoping, looking at how the counts have been so far, since that hopefully we'll go back down to green in the upcoming week. In terms of just quickly on the CDC side of things, there were the CDC guidelines that have been released since our last meeting for like fully vaccinated individuals and what types of activities and who they can get in contact with, like as a small group, along with then the recent CDC updates to their mask guidelines for fully vaccinated individuals also, so more specific to the mask guidelines. As I mentioned late this morning, Governor Baker made a number of announcements regarding reopening and also face masks. I personally haven't been able to get through all of them because I've been meetings all day, but I'm going to read off pretty much the official announcement that was made, so at least everyone has, okay, what is that? Hold on, sorry, something funky just happened with my screen. As long as it doesn't crash like my work computer did this morning. So sorry about that, I love technology. So I'm gonna read through the announcements that were made at a high level without getting into any of the minutia at this point. So based on what the administration's been seeing from public health data combined with vaccination data, there were a number of announcements made, including the fact that the Commonwealth is on track to meet the goal of vaccinating 4.1 million residents by the first week of June. And then the big announcement to sum it up was that all remaining COVID-19 restrictions will be lifted effective May 29th. The administration feels they're able to take those steps to reopen the economy because we are on track to meet that goal of the number of vaccinated individuals. And obviously the data's been showing that the new cases have been dropping a lot. Hospitalizations are down, positive test rates down. So as I mentioned briefly, effective May 29th, all industries will be permitted to open back up. You do have some face covering requirements still, so public and private transportation systems. So that includes, from what I could tell, like things like Lyft and Uber, not just the T and airplanes, that type of thing, or let's say the T boats that are around in the harbor. So that still holds true, buses, all of that. Private and public transportation, you still need to wear a mask regardless of vaccination status. And also you have to wear a mask if you're in, it sounds like, hospitals, potential healthcare settings, congregate care settings, which from what I saw didn't mention prisons, but I know the CDC guidance mentioned prisons. I'm assuming that it gets lumped in under congregate care settings. So yeah, capacity is going to increase to 100% for all industries. Gathering limits will be rescinded. All industries will be encouraged to follow the CDC guidance for cleaning and hygiene protocols. The face mask guidance will result in the order being rescinded, and there'll be a new face covering advisory effective also May 29th. Non-vaccinated individuals, which means technically, if you go by what fully vaccinated means, it means 2 weeks after you've either gotten your second shot, if it's Pfizer or Moderna, or 2 weeks after your one J&J shot means you're fully vaccinated at that status, not the second you get your last or only shot in your arm. So non-vaccinated individuals are advised to continue wearing face masks and to continue distancing. Fully vaccinated individuals no longer need to wear a face covering or social distance indoors or outdoors, except in the certain situations as mentioned. And I know there's more details besides just, transportation side of the world. Let's see. Face coverings will also remain required indoors for staff and students of K through 12 schools and early education providers. There was also mention on youth and amateur sports face covering guidance that effective May 18th, the youth and amateur sports guidance will be updated to no longer require face coverings for youth athletes 18 and under while playing outdoor sports. Effective 29th of May, all youth and amateur sports restrictions will be lifted. It sounds like there'll also be some new guidance for summer camps that will be effective May 29th, which will no longer include requiring masks for outdoor activities. And that in the school setting, no longer requiring masks for outdoor activities like recess, and to allow for the sharing of objects in classrooms in both childcare and K through 12. Also, Governor Baker will end the state of emergency on June 15th. And the administration will work with legislative and municipal partners during the period in order to manage an orderly transition from emergency measures adopted by the executive order and special legislation during the period of state of emergency. So as I mentioned, like early on going back to that big long wording that I go through at the very beginning of each meeting, that order that says everyone should be doing their meetings remotely most likely will turn into that goes away when the state of emergency gets lifted. Now, will there be some type of transition period? I don't know. We didn't personally put it in place because we're not the state in granting that change to the open meeting law. So obviously we can just hypothesize as to what that means when you kind of flip back out of the state of emergency. So I'm sure we'll hear more as time goes on. Let's let's see. So that's, in a nutshell, the high level changes. So pretty much sounds like we're going back to normal as such pre-COVID, or as normal as I guess people want it to be. Dan?
Yeah, thanks, Karen. I just wanted to mention that, or I'm pretty sure that that is the Saturday of Labor Day, of Memorial Day weekend, correct? Okay,
Yep.
so who knows if we'll have a parade, a small parade for Memorial Day. Short notice to plan that, I suppose. And anyway, I think that's all great. And personally, just my personal conservative opinion, I think the CDC jumped the gun by a month or two, but maybe not. But it's going to be nice, just to get back to normal. Certainly by the middle of the summer, I think. Hopefully everything will be lifted. We'll see.
I just hope that we as the larger
Right.
as a state,
Right.
don't lift and then have to, something goes wrong in terms of cases, et cetera, and then we have to all revert back
Right.
to some
Right.
level of restriction again.
Right.
That's my concern, obviously.
Yep.
That it's nice that we're lifting and going to more new normal, but
Right. And I think part of this is a drive to get more people that are not vaccinated to just get out there and do it so that they don't have to be held accountable wearing masks as well. We'll see how that works.
Julie, did I miss anything?
No, you were spot on.
Because I was reading from the official announcement.
Yeah. So the only other thing that they said this morning on the call was that with Zoom meetings, I think that they kind of encourage them still, just because of some of the population, the vulnerable population, and perhaps maybe staff that have medical issues. So I mean, that's up to each town, I guess. That's the only thing that they said different on our call today.
Yeah, which I don't think, the state's official announcement would get into that granularity. I wouldn't expect them to, but it's good to hear that because, of course, that was once I got over the surprise I thought when, it was like Governor Baker's going to speak today. I'm thinking it's something to do with the mask guidance. And then it was like, in everything else, I'm like, okay. Didn't technically see that one coming, but so, yeah, we shall see. And I'm sure we'll hear more from the Zoom versus in-person perspective. Because even I know workplaces, which most workplaces are dealing with a much larger population than your average town. I'm just thinking my workplace with tens of thousands plus people that sit in offices and cubicles and stuff. Even if all the states remove all their restrictions, not all the businesses are just automatically going, okay, everyone come back in and sit in your little cubicles 4 feet from each other without masks on, a lot of them are talking September, some are talking never go back. So yeah, it's ends up being, company to company, hopefully, town to town. All right. Anything else on all of those updates? No. All right. Vaccine updates for COVID as of April 19th. Well, as of right now, even just let's do it with that way I don't get caught up in the whole Pfizer versus non-Pfizer. Currently, anyone aged 12 plus who lives, works, or studies in Massachusetts is eligible to receive the COVID vaccine in Massachusetts. One call out with the 12 to 15-year-old population is only the Pfizer vaccine that has been authorized for that younger population at this point. In terms of more information on where to go, what vaccine is for what population, whether it be 12 plus, 16 plus, 18 plus, that type of thing, go and visit www.mass.gov /COVID-19-vaccine for more information on that. And also, of course, on availability of the various, I think the governor said there's almost 1,000 locations in Massachusetts that are offering the vaccine at this point. So definitely have seen an increase in availability of appointments, and some places have started to do walk-ins also. So it's definitely gotten better as time has gone on, which is good. Just need to get more people to get the vaccine, obviously, at this point. Any questions on vaccines? No. All right, I still don't see Evan on. I'm assuming, yeah, because I don't see Evan. No. Interesting. Okay. So oop, hold on. Let's jump to, let's get in touch, see if we can get them. All right, we're gonna skip over swirls and scoops. As we mentioned, all right, let's go to tobacco regulations. So I sent out the final drafts earlier today with the 2 different regulations, the sales and then the permitting in workplace. To refresh memory, late last year, DJ Wilson from Mass Municipal Association was at one of our meetings where he went through the minor updates that would be needed for the 2 Grafton regulations that we have related to tobacco to bring them up to match the recent state tobacco regulation updates. As you might remember, the vast majority of what the state did, we already had in our regulations. So a lot of it was just like tweaking the definitions, like our definition of smoking bar to match the state's definition of the smoking bar. That type of thing. There was nothing major in them. There was also some updated wording in the state regs around like some references to FDA and menthol, wintergreen, etc. And from there, you know, making sure all of that had been updated accordingly there. So at a minimum, we're matching what the state obviously has, but we already were 21 plus. We already had, you know, certain bans in place ahead of what the state had. So it was just, you know, confirming after that meeting with DJ, confirming that because the changes to our regulations were so minor, we didn't need to go through the public hearing process. We weren't implementing anything new that would warrant a public hearing. It was revising to reflect state revisions for definitions, et cetera. So confirmed that was the case, hence the fact we don't have a public hearing tonight on them. So I guess before, obviously, we go down the path of accepting these, which it's been some time since we had to. So if we're going to go down the path, then we need obviously the standard kind of motion, any discussion, voting, that type of thing related to each regulations. The one area I wanted to bring up for both of them was we need to pick an effective date for them. As placeholder on both regulations when confirming the final versions of them, put July 1st, because DJ had said give them about a month. So figuring we're like mid-May rather than pick a random date in the middle of June, I figured July 1st. Obviously, feel free to, you know, pick a different date. I just put something like an even start date. Dan?
Yeah, I think that date makes sense. Can you hear me okay?
Yep.
Okay. It's a traditional anniversary annual date. It's either January 1st or July 1st for most municipalities and organizations. And so I think that's fine. And if you'd like, I can make a motion to ratify the regulations as presented? Want me to do that?
It's up to you.
Yeah, so I'd like to make a motion that the Grafton Board of Health ratifies the regulations presented on the cigarette and tobacco regulations as presented by DJ and accepted by the Massachusetts Department of Public Health as well.
Probably I would suggest
Adding,
reading the title of each verbatim.
yeah, I don't have that handy, unfortunately. I don't have another screen. Let me see if I can pull it up. Nope, I do not. So, are you able to make a motion, Karen, or no?
Typically someone else does.
Okay,
first. Not that I can't, but
that's fine. So, would you be able to tell me what the verbatim name of the regulations are? The official title.
they're like hiding behind like 7 things on my screen because I
I
didn't
know.
need
Sorry.
them up. All right. First one, Town of Grafton regulation prohibiting smoking in workplaces and public places.
Yep.
Second one, regulation of the Grafton Board of Health restricting the sale of tobacco products.
Okay. Okay, so I would like to amend my motion or continue my motion that we, as a board, vote to ratify the regulations prohibiting the sale in public places, or the official title, and regulation of the Grafton Board of Health restricting the sale of tobacco products as described 6 months ago, and effective July 1st, 2021.
Before we ratify it, I saw that there were some questions in there for the Board of Health. Do we have to answer those questions before we ratify the drafts?
I think we already did actually at the previous meeting, but not sure.
The 25 to 500 feet and stuff like that. Where you did that?
Oh, that was what Nancy sent was the drafts. What I sent today were the finals that came out of those meetings.
Oh, okay. I just saw the drafts. Then yeah, I'll second that motion to ratify the Town of Grafton regulation prohibiting smoking in workplaces and public places, and also the regulation of the Grafton Board of Health restricting the sale of tobacco products for July 1st.
All right. We have motion and second. Any discussion before voting? Nope, seeing none. All right, roll call vote. Dan Finn,
Dan Finn, aye.
Austin Magnan,
Austin Magnan, aye.
Bill Muller,
Bill Muller, aye.
Karen Gwastowski Govan, aye. All right. Long time coming for such minor things, but with COVID, there were more important things to get through. All right. All right, so looking still no Evan, it looks like. I know he got texted to see if he was joining or not. Guess we'll go to mail/correspondence, which Austin, I think the only thing that you need to read is John Carlson's resignation for the Inspector of Animals that Nancy had sent out in her email on Friday.
So, Grafton Town Administrator Select Board from John L. Carlson, Inspector of Animals. Subject resignation. dated May 6th, 2021, received May 10th, 2021 by the Grafton Health Department. It is with deep regret that I must tender my resignation as the Inspector of Animals for the town of Grafton effective June 30th, 2021. I have served in this capacity for the past 21 years and have enjoyed every minute of the job. This position was previously held by a longtime resident of Grafton, Mr. Ernie Adams. As an animal science major in college, I found this position to be an avenue to stay in touch with farm animals and the farmers of Grafton. Grafton used to be a great farming town, hosting some 12 farms in its heyday. Unfortunately, Grafton has lost its dairy farms to other interests. I would like to thank the town for the confidence they have found in me over the past several years. Sincerely, John Carlson, Inspector of Animals.
So I personally also want to thank John for all of his time and efforts. And, it's been great to have him as Inspector of Animals for all those years. I think we should send him a thank you from the board, also for his time and efforts, something official thanking him, obviously. So. And I think I'm just looking at my email trail. Pretty sure the select board is going to post an ad for a new animal inspector also. I think that's what netted out from the conversation around like what the next steps are, obviously, because it's been 21 years. And whoop, Dan?
Yeah, I just want to agree. I think it would be great to send a note of thanks and appreciation for his hard work over the past, 25 years or so. And, Nancy can actually sign our names, but just at least put our names on as members of the Board of Health that we're thankful of his efforts.
Agreed. I thought of that with the tobacco regulations. Normally, we actually physically sign them when we're in the meeting after we voted on a regulation. It's like, well, we'll do that someday. Julie's back. Say, I think, yeah, Julie was going to try to get in touch with Evan to see if he was going to be able to join or not. So, not seeing him yet. Let me just check. Anything else?
Did you guys see that email about the surplus PPE? I think it was from last Thursday.
Yeah.
You want to try to get any masks or anything like that?
Dan or Bill, thoughts from a PPE, from an EDS perspective, anything you could think of with that email?
Yeah. Yeah, I actually missed the email. I have to check it out. I was busy all day, all weekend, but I imagine, if we can secure some available excess, it's probably very little in terms of expiration dates. It might be good, especially for the Medical Reserve Corps to garner some more, just in case we have another episode or, God forbid, some other crisis.
Looks like the list of items besides masks, they have stethoscopes, cloth face coverings, face shields, goggles, shoe covers, head coverings, heavy-duty cleaning gloves, thermometer, isolation gowns, Tyvek suits, and alcohol prep pads.
Yeah, I didn't see it either, but I mean, I do believe that given the last year's experience, that probably having a stockpile of these sorts of things is prudent.
Yeah, and I think storage will be an issue, but whatever Nancy can find and Mary Ann can find room for would be great.
Yeah, and like I said, I pulled back up the email. Some of the items, so like think the N95s and KN95s, they have shelf lives or expiration dates, but 2 to 5 years. It's not like it's saying that it's like 3 months from now.
They could even have on hand to hand out at games or plays or something in high school or whatever.
All right, still no sign. All right, so a few minutes, otherwise we're not gonna sit around forever waiting. But upcoming meetings, June 7th, July 12th, August 9th, and September 13th.
I think I only have one more meeting left of my 3 years.
Yeah, that's right. I haven't gotten the mail yet, but I saw in my USPS informed delivery message that it looks like I think it's my term is up. I think Austin, yours is, and Josh is.
Yeah.
All three of us are up for reappointment. Dan?
And was Bill a 1-year appointment or 3? I forget.
I thought it was 3.
I can't remember.
I thought I was assuming somebody else's
Yeah, he was assuming
appointment, so
Right.
Debbie's term, so whatever,
So that would be a 2. It was a 2-year then. Okay.
yeah, whatever Debbie's term netted out to be.
Yeah, she was with me a year from now. Right. Thanks.
Has there been a slew of resumes coming in like there was last time? I'd be
Yeah,
surprised.
it'll be. Yeah, hopefully this, I mean, I know they've been talking like a lot more people applying to med school and like masters in public health degrees and everything because of the pandemic and all of that. So,
For that now, yeah.
additional people getting, we'll call it interested, excited, whatever word you want to use about health and public health is not a bad thing. So not that I wanted a pandemic to make people get interested in public health, but it'll still be, hopefully there's some good interest. All right, I'm just looking to see, make sure I don't have any, make sure I'm not missing a text from Evan or something. So I'm not seeing anything. I'm not seeing Evan, so I guess we are done for tonight. And if push comes to shove and we need to talk still about the IMA, then if it can wait till the June 7th meeting, we'll talk about it at the June 7th meeting. If it can't, then I'm sure Nancy or I will be in touch to try to figure out a time sooner than that. Dan?
Are you and/or Evan able to reach out to each of us individually for opinions or for questions, or is that not
I don't even really know what.
questions he has?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. We'll see. Thanks.
All right.
So that being said, I'd like to make a motion. This is Dan Finn, make a motion to adjourn this meeting.
This is Austin Magnet. I will second that motion to adjourn the meeting.
All right. Roll call vote. Dan Finn,
Dan Finn, aye.
Austin Magnet,
Austin Magnet, aye.
Bill Muller,
we unmute Bill Muller, aye.
and Karen Gwasowski Govan, aye. All right. Thank you, everyone.